Okay, hi, it's Susan at Seaside Stitches and welcome to my channel. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you watching my videos, and if you've been with me before then that's also wonderful, and if you're at all interested and want to give a like or a comment, I love comments, I'd really appreciate it. But what I'm doing today is just a quick update. Now I'm starting with a quick update, but this may go on for several episodes of sorting out my scraps. That's not where I started today, but that's where I'm up to at this moment. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so today a funny thing happened. I'm just going to sort myself out, see if I've got my head on. I don't know if this is a Friday sews, it's Saturday. But what I would do is just come out of my denial about scraps and share a few scrap issues. So I'm just getting back into the groove now. I've had an amazing week, and the week before we had never know whether to mention this anyway, but we've had our cat for 13 years. She just came and adopted us, but last Thursday we had to take her on her final journey to the vets, and we've been looking after her for quite a long time in terms of her deterioration and trying to do our best for her without stressing her out any more than she was stressed. So it was a difficult decision to make, and one of the wonderful things is that Alan found some photographs of her that he put on Facebook just as a memory and a goodbye to her, and I chose those photographs as well to put on my Facebook, and it has really helped us in how young she looked and how vibrant she looked. And they're only about 4 years ago maybe. How young and vibrant and interested in everything, and being by the window and sitting with her little tiny little paws. Ooh. But it's also helped us because the contrast of how she's been lately really has shown us that we did do the right thing. So anyway, she was an 18, maybe 19-year-old cat. We had her for 13 years. We don't know what her life was like before then, but she was really quite special in that she had her own little quirky ways, as all cats do, but these were particularly special. Right, so we were kind of fit for nothing after that, and we thought we had plans for the weekend, and all we did was we just wanted to do something familiar. So we went out and about, nothing very, very taxing. Went to see a friend who turns out wasn't in Bury at that point, but had gone to Nottingham to see her son. But it was just all sort of spontaneous, and we still had a lovely day, not too taxing, but it meant that I didn't get the yellow for endo done for the lovely Jess at Sew What If I Sew. So that being said, I had some other things cut out ready for the Sew Frugal, and I have managed to post them, and the makes on the hashtag on Instagram just are awesome. There were so many wonderful makes, from so many wonderful free patterns. Anyway, I thought I would keep up with how I have been managing to sew over the last few days, and apart from a bit of a nuisance earache, I've been absolutely fine, really. So this morning, I'm in a transition now because I have some things that I still want to complete, but I'm also very aware that I have something to complete by the 5th so that I can send it off. So overnight I thought I'll just do that one dress. I should cut it all out, I should clear a space, I should cut out the dress, and then I shall put it to one side, and then I will concentrate on the selfless sewing that I'd prepared myself to do and want to do for part of the month of April. I will just get organised into what things I need to be doing. And then I spent ages thinking about how to set the pattern out, and I spent ages making sure I was relatively pattern matching the idea of things and measuring with my tape measure to see what I was supposed to be making. And we'll call this dress the Orage dress. And it's not called that at all, it's the Deer Doe. Now I've got to say orange as if I'm saying orange and take the N out, because I can't bear to call it the Orage because it reminds me of someone hideous. So it's the orange dress but without the M. And I spent a long time today, and I cut it out. I matched the sleeve more or less to the other sleeve because I had to cut them out singly. And it wasn't until I folded up the sleeves and realised there was very little stretch down the length of it, it dawned on me. I had delayed starting that dress, starting to cut out that dress with the fabric that I'd chosen, because it didn't have enough stretch. And rather than getting really, really angry with myself, I just thought, okay, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. I will make something else out of the fabric, which for me is quite good and quite calm. But then I thought, this room is in such a mess. There are so many things I didn't find places for when we changed it around. When you see my videos, I've got this backdrop here, and I'll keep that relatively tidy, and I don't need to do anything much about it. But under my table, I had this massive box of scraps. Now this is from a venture that I began in about, about October, November last year, so 2022. I took all my scraps downstairs. I took all my scraps downstairs. Now I've just got to check the video is recording. So, case in point, I've just fallen over my shoes that I didn't even know were here until about an hour ago, when I got into a little bit of, ooh. So I shall plop them there. So around October, November, I took all my jersey scraps downstairs. Now I'd followed Karen at Just Get It Done Quilts a couple of years before that, and she talked about, don't be ashamed of your scraps. We're all going to make scraps, aren't we? But she does the Mount Scrap More videos and tries to get us more organised. But what she just said was, if you have a certain type of scraps, like your cotton scraps, quilting scraps, just put those separate from dressmaking scraps. And so I had freed myself up by doing that, and I had kind of was the old the bin, the bucket, the thing that the old paper shredder was on. That broke, we no longer needed that. So I used that under the table in my other sewing room downstairs. It was behind a curtain when I wanted it to be. And just anything, bits and pieces like I'm been creating now of the jersey scraps, I could just put them all separately into that bin. And if I had cotton scraps, like these kind of scraps, I could put all these in a different one, and then I knew what I'd got for crumb quilting. Now 2 years before that, when I got really organised, I managed to sit and sift and and chop up, mince my scraps, so that for if I was going to do any draft excluders or cat beds or dog beds or something with, they would be all ready. Now I've got to the point where these are a mixture really, and that's fine, because ultimately they are not going to be used for anything else, only stuffing. I've been a bit ruthless about how small, because that's a salvage, so I wouldn't keep it, but if it wasn't a salvage I would keep that. Anyway, so all these still want trimming down further, and I had brought these upstairs after I'd done the jersey scraps. I'd sorted out all my cotton scraps and cut those up, and the jersey scraps, and I'm fed up of plastic and I want to work out a system. Now this is what I did this morning. I found this part of the Deer Doe pattern that I'd been cutting out this morning, and then the scraps weren't on the table then, but it just felt like there was something on every chair, and I just, right then, I'll deal with that later. So this is Susan, maybe as you've never seen Susan before, but I thought I'll do this on camera rather than on my own. So obviously I will be picking that up after. So what I thought I would do is drag out everything from under the table and get it on the table I've got one of my mum's hats here. Why on earth I need my mum's hats? This will be good for the thumbnail, won't it? Why on earth I've got one of my mum's hats up here? My mum passed away in 2019, and I'm not laughing about that. I'm just like, why is there one in my sewing room? I think I do know why, but we don't need to go into that. So that can go to that corner. Right. So I have, and then I've got rulers out now. So yes, so what I'm trying to do today, I've decided, and these are scraps that I've got like by Annie soft and stable bits and pieces on them, or whatever you call that other bosom. So these are out and about because I moved them over from there while I moved something else. I've got these lovely envelopes that came with the printing from the fold line, but they're no damn good to me because as soon as you try to put in a PDF, they just split because they're not big enough. So I didn't pay for them, they were a gift. I'll find a use for them. You can see what a good mood I'm in, can't you? There's my other ruler. Right. So when I finished with the jersey scraps downstairs at the end of whatever, and I've got photograph. I left a big sheet on the floor with all different piles of different stages of jersey scraps, and I couldn't believe how Alan was. He's just lovely. He was just so tolerant of another day had gone by and everything was as it was, and then I might do a bit more, and then I'd find something else, and then I'd sew something together, and then I'd but then eventually I just got to the bigger scraps that are useful for something, maybe some colour blocking or doing a bodice or a part of a bodice or a cuff or something. And so I did try and preserve enough of whatever is a bit left of this and that, but not exactly a garment. Don't want to be rattling, but so these need a place. They need a place, but they need a place where I know where they are, so that if I think, I would like to do that colour block thingamabob, that's where they are. So the place they've been living in, these that have already been sorted, is a tub, or I think in the US you'd call them a bin. I don't have one handy, but a plastic box with a lid. And they are all in there, but I've just brought them up now to show you. I've just got to keep checking my video because I keep running out of storage. I won't buy any more storage. And I just need to sit with my phone and delete lots of stuff that's already on the hard drive that I've uploaded. So what I do with decent sized scraps that are possibly going to be crumb quilting things, they go together in something. And I've got quite a few of those somethings, so I need to order myself. Now the reason I've got this bit out, I'm going to move this out of the picture. This stuff, I think it was November, gift for November, that I started to collect things. Whoa, I'm going to move those dearly. They might shine now. So I've been emptying bags and tipping stuff out. Just because I've got to get it done. So these, and I know I'm shouting, but you're a long way off and I've not got my microphone on. This, I really love doing this. And the person, it's THUY. Now, some channel, something to do with orchards and apples, or maybe not that. They said that you say two, or anyway, don't matter. So I just loved doing this, and I just had to keep rewinding the person's channel and watching what they'd done, and then I realised I'd not actually backed this so that I could quilt it. Doesn't matter. What it's meant to be is you put a little loop on there and a loop on one side and a button on the other, and it can be a scissors case. It's supposed to have a little loop in the middle, but I thought that's not going to be any good if I'm going to put it on here, because if you've got a loop on there and you've got something heavy, it's just going to do that, isn't it? So I put a bigger one and then decided I wanted it on here, so I just put a pin in there and popped it in there. Now when I go out, when we go down to our son's, we're in the car 4, 5, 6 hours, and so I found that with my arthritis cream for my hands and my tablets and my hair grips and a comb and bits and pieces, instead of having scissors in there, then that fits really nice in my door compartment. So it's dual purpose, and really I've been testing it for giving them to other people. But what I started doing was collecting more pieces to do other ones, and I cut out more hearts and I cut out more sets, and I didn't get back to them, but I wasn't meaning to get back to them at that point, because those of you in the know knew that I was also trying to get on with the little yellow boy for my grandson. So yeah, so I've got a couple of these, and what I started to do, you know, in the moments, I don't like that phrase palette cleanser, something not nice about it for me, but there you go. When you want something that's just a bit, requires not much attention, you can just put a few things together, and I like doing little bits of things like that. So crumb piecing, crumb quilting. So all these are possibles for cutting out for these shapes to make another one of those, or another 2 of those, or another 3 of those. So they are something in process, aren't they? I've lost the other bits. Anyway, they're works in progress, but they've just been dumped under there so that I've got everything sort of together, and they were dumped on top of this with a cover in this so that that didn't all mix together, and then I could get back to it. So I need something better than that. I am in earnest today. That was the little thing that I had to make 7 of, or 6 of, or 5 of, to make a ball, which was the yellow boy's head. Now my other grandson wants something a bit like it's a bit like a flame kind of shape, so I'm maybe using that again. And these are just templates that Alan made for me for the heart shape. These are just circles that are scrap that I used to practice whatever that thing is, narrow hemming, rolled hem. And like I said, these are from bag making, lots of plasticky things. It don't matter. I've got a box of those that as well, and then that's a handle ready made for the one of those. And this was all recovered fabric from someone who sent me a parcel of fabric that they no longer needed. And this weird thing is all captured used thread, or leftover thread. So it's captured because you capture it between some chiffon or organza or whatever, and then you sew many rows over it, and it becomes captured in there, and you can use it to cover books and things. And that's just an example of it. So that goes there for something else, because I never throw any of my threads away. There you go. Okay, I've just had to go and load my phone up onto the computer. Anyway, right, so the other thing I'm going to show you, now I've picked up my pattern and found the envelope for it, and we'll put that in. In a little while I won't make you... Okay, so this is what, that was for the thingamabob. This is what I got made as a toile now, really. It's a really lovely pattern, and I saw it on, Sarah, is she Sarah from Naughty No? Lovely lass. She was doing a video and showing a pattern. That's another thing, I don't know where anything is. I like to have everything where I know where it is. Oh, it is on the desk. It's exactly where I was going to go for it. Right, anyway. So what she showed me was this, which I really fancied, and I bought that. And from Fabrics at Fleetwood, which is just down the road from me. I have tried a number of options that I may use for that pattern. I'm not in a rush, but I think that would be quite a nice thing. This morning I've had, no, it's not the pattern. I thought, oh, there it is. See, hopeless. There we are. Now, obviously that's quite a silky, kind of like a viscosy, kind of very drapey thing, but I didn't have any of that in yellow. So this fabric I got from a charity shop. It's quite a thickish cotton, obviously not that drapey, and it's just got little ice cream sundaes on it. It was some fabric that someone had started to make something of, and they'd cut out a piece of it. I don't know if they'd folded it in a funny way, because there was a piece at one end and a piece at the there was a piece at one end and a piece at the other the other end. I'm completely nuts today, but never mind. Yes, and you kind of think you're making it back to front, but the back's got a V and a little thingy, and it's quite nice. And I sized it down. I didn't think it would be for me anyway, but I sized it down to a kind of proper 12. And I can actually get it on, but it's not really my kind of thing, is it? But I do have a lovely niece. Because I had no more of it, just a tiny bit, I did trial a few things. So there's that I could have done a frill with on the armholes, and I had some lilac, and I had some lilac spotted, and I had lilac blue, and it all became, well, I'll take the little thing off and put the pink around there, or the, and it, anyway, it didn't get done. It's serving as a toile now, just in case I get around to doing the one with the sleeves. I really kind of think it would be quite nice. It wouldn't be all sticky outy frilly with it, with something a bit more fluid. I might even give it a go. Right, I think I'm exhausted now, and I think you should be too. And this had been put on one side. This is the Christmas drawing that one of my grandsons did, and then for a Christmas card, and then we chose to have a bag printed in it as well. And the other grandson did the Christmas tree and the light, the star. Oh, beautiful. And when they came, they're just kind of a very cheap kind of tote bag kind of a thing, and I thought I will line them, or I might even quilt line them or something to make them a bit more substantial and a bit more respected for the work they put in. So it's just done as a school thing where they're raising funds, but they've got cheapo handles, and when you pick it up you can't get hold of it. Kids see I'm in the mood. I started off really calmly this morning because I was putting things away in the wardrobe and really working out what I have downstairs. Because we split our bedroom, I'm doing this now because I think my phone is in the wrong place. What's driving me nuts, I've got to keep moving the chair, moving everything. Everything's in the way, and tomorrow I am cracking on making something, and I've just been going through the video, and I really like this blouse now. I'm really pleased with it. It's fab. Very Seaside stitches. I'm going to call it a day now. Like I said, you'll need to lie down. Feel free to get yourself a cup of tea and do whatever it is you need to do. A cold flannel on your head. That's an old-fashioned Lancashire word. Right, I'm going to find a great big box and put all this in, and then come back to it another day. That's what we do, isn't it? So thank you for watching. It's nice just to be real. Sometimes real can be a bit too much for people, but there you go. Sewing is real, isn't it? It's not just all kind of, oh, and I've done this and I've done that, and it's been marvellous. Sometimes it's marvellous and sometimes it's not marvellous at all. Thank you. If you'd like to give a thumbs up or leave me a comment. And what do you do with your scraps? Where do you put them? What do you do with them? Do you have a use for them? Do you ever go back to them, in fact? It's Susan from Seaside Stitching saying bye now from Friday Sews. Bye for now.